Welcome back to the studio. Today at Polite Company, which is our studio here in Seoul, I'm going to be working on a few projects today. So I thought I would take you guys around with me because it's actually a pretty eventful day. First of all, something I usually do when I get to the studio is this. We bring out the cat food because, believe it or not, there is a cat now coming to visit us. It started just after we got back from Bangkok. So to rewind a little bit, we did actually take a little trip to Bangkok in March around my birthday, and it just so aligned that I got to go to my friend's pop-up exhibition with Liracle, she's a printmaker based in Berlin, and she does these really amazing events and like gathers local printmakers. And so my friend was a part of one of those shows. That friend, who is also a very talented illustrator named Do-hee Kwon, we got to hang out at her studio a bit. She's been doing some really cool experimental silkscreen stuff, and she and her partner Jack were nice enough to show us around. And I love going somewhere new and like gathering little bits of inspiration and just like refreshing your eyes a little bit. And for me, whenever I travel, I always like go around and take photos on my phone of things I think are interesting. If you are interested in more amazing printmaker and artist's work, definitely check out Do-hee's work, check out Liracle's work. But back to the cat food. The first thing I do at the studio is take this bag of cat food and I prepare a little meal for our visitor. Basically, I need to do some printing here. So first thing I have to do is organize some paper in the other room. I'm going to be printing for a Russian translator. He's actually making a photo zine here, so I'm just preparing all of his prints, and then tomorrow he and his wife are going to come and like bind everything. So I've already printed some of the stuff, but I'm going to finish up today and also like print some postcards that he wants to include in the edition. And in other exciting news, actually, we have upped the number of colors we have. So we got a lot more print drums. I'll turn you guys around so you can see our pyramid of print drums here. So we now have pink, yellow, blue, and black, our original 4. And then we added red, green, and teal. I had gotten a delivery of some paper here and some in another box. So we're gonna unpack that in the other room and then we can go ahead and print. We had another Russian collective. They're more like a studio, like a design studio, but they actually printed with us last month for an exhibition that they did with Post Poetics here in Seoul. And that was a really cool experience too, because they just asked us to print these black and white posters. The exhibition idea was like about time and ways of telling time and different designers and artists' interpretations of that. Yeah, it's been interesting meeting people from so many different places through the studio, and that's kind of one really cool part about having a studio is I think that you get to interact a lot more with people in general. People walk by and sometimes they stop in and like chat to you. It's nice to have that human interaction again, like being a freelancer and working alone so much of the time. You kind of can lose that, and so I think having the studio and doing more printing projects and like collaborating with people or even just like printing the stuff for them, and it's just really nice. I really enjoy it. But yeah, we have all of our paper ready. So I think it's time to print. I guess one thing is, since we're gonna be printing a zine, it's just gonna be a lot more pages. So I think there's gonna be 7 A3 sheets, different A3 sheets, and then the cover. So we'll be doing lots of masters on the Rizzo. Guys, she came back. Are you gonna get upset if I move these boxes? Thanks. Well, you want to sit in here? Oh. Oh, it's very delicious, isn't it? Want a treat in here? Should I put one in here? Our print's done. This is the cover paper. So it's the last thing that we printed, and then they're gonna come tomorrow to put together the zines. But speaking of printing, I did want to show you guys how one of the projects I talked about last time came out. So last time I teased that I'm doing a workshop here at the studio with Airbnb as like a local expert here in Seoul. And it's finally up, so you can see the link down below. But as part of that workshop, I made a map of our neighborhood, so I'll show you guys how it turned out. So these are the final maps of the neighborhood. And basically what I did is I showed you guys last time, I have like the pink part was I traced over like a grid image of the neighborhood, and then I used the shape tool in Illustrator to like create all the outlines. I did some fills with kind of this halftone texture. And then I added in all of these little illustrations. I think because this is like kind of the prototype, I just wanted to have it ready for the workshop, but I think I'm gonna keep adding some more because it feels like, I feel like there's enough on this side, but this side feels a little empty. The only hard thing was trying to not interfere too much with where all of the points are on the map. So yeah, this is the front side, which you can like kind of see a list of all of the places here. And then the pictures are kind of the more big landmarks that I was kind of sketching and drawing in the last video. And then on the other side, I have all of these places, like a little picture and then a little description. Before I printed this, I always do like a prototype print. So I printed all of the little images individually to kind of like color test and see how they would come out. And only after that did I print the final version. But yeah, I think it'll be a lot cooler to add in some extra images. And now that we have the new color drums, maybe I could even make a version with like some different colors. It could be cool. I might have to update too as time goes by, because living in a neighborhood like this, things are always changing and shops and restaurants are always kind of turning over. And speaking of things changing in the neighborhood, actually tonight, one of our friends' bars is having a going away party. So I'll take you guys to that. End of an era, but those friends I think are gonna be opening their new bar not so far away. So hopefully still a neighborhood spot. Okay, a last little thing in the studio is I got a new tool, which is this. I don't want to take it out of the other room, but it's this beautiful pen plotter tool, which I got as a gift for my birthday from my husband. Pen plotting is something I've grown interested in recently, just because I think it's such an interesting form of printmaking in a way, of being able to basically layer different pens and different materials on top of each other. I've tried a few different kinds of pens. I started off with these like Faber-Castell brush pens, and that resulted in a little bit more of like a, well, basically this is too thick. So I've been trying some thinner pens, some like around 0.3 to 0.4 millimeters, I think is the sweet spot. And then kind of playing around with some different color mixes and some different methods of organizing the plot before you send the directions to the plotter. So you can kind of see these are 4 Sakura pens. They won't fade or anything over time. This is using a tool called Drawing Bots. So you can basically add in your layers and then it kind of like configures the machine to fill in all of your shapes. So that's why actually there's some things I don't like these smaller details often get lost. Yeah, there's just like a lot of small detail missing, but overall, really like the texture of this. It's like, I think kind of more interesting and less flat than like when you silk screen print something, and almost reminds me of like when you risograph print, you get some grain and some cool texture, but risograph printing is not archival and it's not light safe, like it fades over time. I still did all the solid colors with the drawing bot tool, but then these little lines and stuff, I had Inkscape kind of trace. But as you can see, it kind of just traces the outline. It doesn't really, and it's a little bit shaky and stuff. So that was not really what I wanted. And then I decided to just go ahead and use the vector tool in Inkscape to just redraw all of the smaller details. And also because of that, I was able in these fine lines, you can see it kind of like has this, not a shaky line, but you know, if you draw a straight line like this, or you could kind of draw a line with texture by going back and forth. And that's something I like to do when I draw on paper, when I sketch. I was able to replicate that with this. I also have a version that just has the line work. These are just the lines with a 0.3 millimeter pen. So yeah, I was very pleased with this result. So I think for all the illustrations, this is for like a upcoming book project, like a mixed media kind of project that I'm doing. That's kind of where I've been going with things. And yeah, if you guys want to know more about that, I write a lot about it and kind of what I've been working on and the layout and ideas behind all of that on Patreon, but I'm sure eventually I'll get more into it here. But yeah, that is the studio day. We did our printing. Tomorrow we will do some binding. I mean, it's Saturday, so maybe we'll just go to one of my favorite places and hang out a little bit. I'll show you one of my favorite places in the neighborhood.